Good evening, everybody. My name is Will Wilcox from Dutch Point Credit Union. Thank you so much for taking time out today to learn about the fraud prevention program, or not program itself, but some fraud prevention tips that we can provide to you from Dutch Point to all of you. Um, I'm so thankful that Mara and I had been able to connect over the past few months and work to put this together for all of you for the beginning of this year. I don't know if any of you have ever been scammed or know of someone who's been scammed and frauded, but it seems to be a huge uptick that's happening all around. So we wanted to make sure that the people that we are in community with are well aware of some of the common scams and fraud that are going on. Before I begin my PowerPoint, I just want you all to know that I do have in the chat box, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask any question at any time. We will have a Q&A at the very end, and so you can feel free to save till the end. But I know for myself that I forget my questions very easily. So if we're on a topic that you want to ask a question about or give some perspective from something that you've observed on your own end, whether it be from yourself or from a family or friend, please, it works best when we have actual testimonies and some stories about what some things people have gone through. So this way we can better serve each other to best protect ourselves when these scammers are trying to come through. And with that, we are going to rock and roll. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. And can everyone see my screen okay? Excellent. So again, my name is Will Wilcox from Dutch Point Credit Union. I am the Training and Community Outreach Specialist. I'm so thankful I have this opportunity to come out and speak with you guys. And today we are here to talk about scams. So as we know, scams have upticked recently because of all the different ways we can be communicated with. And without the knowledge of how to best protect ourselves, sometimes we can fall into these scams quite easily or could be convinced. So it's better to arm ourselves with some information so we can make sure that we protect ourselves, we protect our families, we protect our friends, and hopefully get these scammers to get run out of business at some point. So we're going to go through a couple different scams. The first one we're going to go over is text message scams. Then we're going to talk about gift card scams, go into romance, this fake prize, sweepstakes, lottery scams, and then tech support. Now, there are others out there, but these are the ones we're going to hit tonight for the sake of time because I only have you for an hour, and I want to make sure that we have enough time to talk about all these things and answer any questions you might have. So first, we want to go into text message scams. Texting, as we know, has become very convenient and a primary way a lot of people enjoy communicating. But unfortunately, it is very easy to be used for exploitation. So does it make sense when I'm receiving a text? It's the first thing you need to ask yourself. Does it make sense? So I put a screenshot on the right of a common fraud that comes through. And it usually will say, hi, this is so-and-so from this financial institution. And usually they will know the financial institution that you do bank with. We're letting you know that there is a $150 scam transaction from this place. If it's not real, plus Y or N. And what happens is that we immediately respond to that text message and they give us a call. And unfortunately, when this happens, banks and credit unions and other financial services and credit card companies use texting in order to find out something fraudulent or not. So we immediately respond to it thinking it's our financial institution, but all we're doing is giving the leeway for a scammer to give us a call. And what ends up happening is that when you get this text or you get this call, they begin to ask you information that is wildly outside the scope of what we would ask as a financial institution. So that brings us to the second question. Does it make sense? Okay, well, if there's a fraudulent transaction and they know the name, it could make sense. But what information is the next question you need to ask yourself? What are they asking for? What are they requesting of you? So as an example, I, as an employee at Dutch Point Credit Union, let's say I'm giving you a call, my member, to find out about transaction. If I'm calling you, I have your information already. I don't need to ask for your account number. I don't need to ask for your full debit card number. I don't need to ask for your social. I don't need to ask for your online banking credentials. Why? Because I am calling you in response to a text message, and we're going to find out about a fraudulent claim. I may ask for verification purposes. Can you verify your zip code? Can you verify the last 4 of your social? There are like small things we may ask, but no financial employee will ever ask of you your entire account information, your entire social, your entire debit card information, because we have that information. We only need to verify you real quick and move on. So, and the next thing is, what number is the text coming from? Now, a lot of these numbers are 5-digit numbers, which is a lot of companies. But if it's coming from, like, for instance, if I, as a Dutch Point Credit Union, if we give you a text, it's going to come from either our headquarters number, or it's going to come from one of those 5-digit numbers that are automated through companies. But we have people that are falling victims of scams that are falling from a random 1-800 number reaching out to them that's got nothing to do with Dutch Point and nothing to do with them. So just keep that in mind too, to take a look at that. So, but like I said, no institution is going to ask you for detailed information about your person, because we have it. We don't need any more information other than what we need to verify we're speaking to the correct person. So, before I go that far, any question on text message scams? None? Excellent. So, let's go into gift card scams, because this one right here is one that honestly really bothers me, the amount of money people use on these. It's very popular and happens very quickly. Scammers will ask you to pay for something with gift cards, whether they say they're from the IRS collecting taxes, from a tech support company trying to fix your computer, and sometimes even a family member that's an emergency. And I'll be honest with you, when I first got married to my wife, I almost fell victim to this one. My father-in-law, he has like 14 different degrees. I can't even list them all. I think 2 doctorates and 8 different masters. And he travels a lot and does a lot of conferences. So I know he travels. So I got an email from him. Someone hacked his email, saw how he addressed certain people. And when I got the email, it said, "Beloved son, how are you today?" Which is how my father-in-law, whether he text messages me, whether he emails me, any email or any messaging I get from him always starts with, "Beloved son, how are you today?" So when I saw that email, and then it went off with, "I'm stuck in the Philippines, I was traveling and I got stuck, I lost my wallet," and gave the whole spiel, I was this close away to doing whatever they needed from me to get the money. But of course, you know, coming up, being a person who deals with scams and frauds on a regular basis with members and clients, I immediately looked at my wife and said, "Hey, is your dad traveling at all?" Because to me, why wouldn't he reach out to his wife? It just immediately something wasn't connecting. And she goes, "No, I just talked to him this morning." So, of course, then he had to change his email and, you know, passwords and things like that. But that's why it's so important to understand that these gift card scams, when they come through, they're coming through to give you a sense of urgency to make you move very quickly. What they all have in common, like I said, is that they want you to do things quickly and move right away. They don't want to give you time to think about it. So once you buy the gift card, the caller demands that you give the number on the back along with the PIN. And I had this conversation with a member, ironically, last week. They came in and they took quite a bit of cash out, got gift cards, and they came in, they're like, "Oh, I almost got scammed, but luckily I only gave them the number on the back of the gift cards." I'm like, "Your money's gone." But I didn't send them the cards. But once you give that information on the back of the card, it is gone. They are already at whatever store buying whatever they can get quickly, fast, so this way that money is completely out of pocket and done it to so they get whatever they want to purchase. Those numbers let them immediately get the money. You load it onto the card, and once they've done that, the scammers and your money are gone. And unfortunately, it's usually without a trace. Gift cards are for gifts, not payments, and I cannot emphasize that point nearly enough, because too often we have people that will be like, "Oh, we are from the IRS, and if you don't pay us $3,942, and Target gift cards, the cops are going to show up and they're going to arrest you. And people are, and I don't know, I can't see anyone's face through Zoom, but the amount of times I've gone and done these events live, people start laughing and they shake their heads like, I can't believe that's ever happening. But when AARP did a study and found that in just gift card scams in 2023, they estimated, around $98 million was taken in just this kind of scam. So unfortunately, people are reacting quickly without being able to think. So whenever you get someone that's demanding payment for something and they want you to use gift cards, it is 182% a scam. This is just someone trying to get you out of your money and to make you act out of an emotional need and not a logical one. Because once we take a step back and think about it, we immediately can understand what's going on. Why do they want to buy merchandise? Do they resell? So it depends. So like, let's say it's a Macy's gift card. What they'll go is that they'll load it onto a cart at Macy's. And once that money is on the gift card and goes into Macy's, they can now just buy whatever they want. They can't redeem it for cash because gift cards are not redeemable for cash. But that's why they'll tell you, we want you to get Macy's, we want you to get Home Depot. Like, they'll tell you what gift cards to get. And then they just load it into whatever online site they're using so they can purchase a new coat. They can, like, whatever the case may be. It may not be cash in hand for them, but it's no different because they're using it to purchase whatever they want. So thank you for that question. I really do appreciate it. But yeah, and to be fair, maybe they do resell. I don't know. They very well could resell it. And, if you put, let's just say $200 on a gift card, maybe they sell it for $150 and they pocket it. I don't know, but I do know that once that number is gone, it is completely, it doesn't matter that you have the physical card, it's gone. So that is unfortunately just the way these scammers operate when it comes to this. So like I said, a lot of money has been transferred out through this type of scam. So if you ever get an email, if you ever get a phone call and they're asking for gift cards, just block them, report them as spam. That's what me and I teach everybody is that if you get a fake phone call, report that number as spam, because with enough people that report a number as spam, the company will block that number. Or an email as well. If it gets enough reports of being spam, they will get rid of that email as well. So now, granted, people can make new emails up too, but anything we can do to try to give these scammers a hard time, I'm all for it. So with gift cards, like I said, just take your time, think about it. And like I said, gift cards are for gifts, not payments. All right. So romance scams. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, this is the one I usually deal a lot with because romance scams, unfortunately, is the #1 loss of people's finances than anything else, unfortunately. So with romance scams, AARP did a study, and we're going back a few more years because it wasn't fully reported. But in 2021, that they found $497 million in 2021 was given out through romance scams because people are dealing with heart issues, they're dealing with emotional responses and not dealing with logical ones. And social media is a great tool. It's great for connecting. It's great for keeping up with people. But unfortunately, there are so many fake dating profiles and social media pages that it gets difficult sometimes to figure out who's what and what's going on. So in these romance scams, all communication is done online. And I'll be honest with you, they play the long game. This is not like a quick cash grab. The gift card one, they do try to quickly make you have an emotional response and quickly send them the money. Romance scams, they're here for the long game. They know that it's going to take some time to build that trust and they're going to work with you, but they're going to play the long game to get money from you. And like I said, 497 million in 2021. And I can only imagine that number has gone up since 2021. So they'll ask for money to be wired or for your digital banking credentials. Please do not ever give your online banking credentials to anyone, including someone who claims to be a representative. I don't care if you came into the Bloomfield office at Dutch Point Credit Union and you sat with the wonderful and well-trained staff we have here. If they ever ask you for your login name and your password, report them immediately, because that is not something anyone should be asking you for. It is for you and you alone to have access to. But unfortunately, once you get into online banking, there are so many ways for money to be transferred. And one of the most common ways is that they set up what's called an external account. So as an example, I have my account here at Dutch Point and I have my account at another financial institution. I have the ability to add my account at that other financial institution here on my app at Dutch Point Credit Union. So I can transfer back and forth. What these scammers will do is that they'll link up their account to your online banking and then start transferring money out of your account into theirs. So like that's usually how it starts, or they'll ask for money to be wired to them. Now, because this scam has grown quite a bit of legs over the past 6-7 years, financial institutions are starting to crack down a little bit on what you're doing with money. And I'll be honest with you, I don't like it when I have to ask anybody, what are you doing with your money? And I guarantee if you ever came in and had to make a significant withdrawal, you don't want to talk to us about why you're making a significant withdrawal. I get it. But the reality is that there's so much scams going on that we're trying to do our best to protect all of our members, and every bank out there is trying their best to protect their customer bases. So I know it might be a little uncomfortable, but unfortunately, it's just one of those things. And not to go back to the gift cards, but as an example, so I'm gonna go back one just so you can have a real life example. When I had somebody doing a gift card scam, I was working in Newington, and I had somebody come through, and they were requesting to take $8,000 out in cash. Now, my teller, who has a very good nose for this kind of stuff, immediately did not feel comfortable with it. He asked the member, what are we looking to use the money for? And he told him, that's none of your business. It's my money and I want it now. Like JG went with, it's my cash and I want it now. And I get it. So, but he didn't feel comfortable with it. And it's a large amount, so he needs approval anyway. So he came and saw me. And I'm looking through this member's account, and in the past 2 years, the largest cash transaction he had done was $500. So we're jumping from a $500 max that you normally have done to $8,000. It's a big jump. So I went over and I spoke to the member and I said, Mr. Member, listen, I genuinely don't care what you're using the money for. I don't care if you're going down to Mohegan and you put all of it on black. I really don't care. Whatever you're using the money for, I just want to make sure whatever you're using it for is 100% for you. Nobody else, for you. And he goes, I'm taking my wife on vacation. Excellent. I hope you guys have a great trip. Here's your cash. Have yourself a great day. Came in the next day and said, I got scammed. I need my money back. And he went to Home Depot. He spent $8,000 on gift cards, and he sent all that money out thinking that he was trying to get someone out of jail. And unfortunately, once that money leaves, it's gone. And listen, every financial institution is insured. If you go to a bank, they're FDIC insured. If you come to a credit union, we're NCUA. It's the same thing, just the verbiage is a little different between banks and credit unions. But we're all insured. But once it leaves us, once you walk out the building with something or you wire it to wherever, there's nothing we can do, which is why we ask these questions. It's uncomfortable for you. It's uncomfortable for us. But we want to make sure that you're absolutely protected, because this is unfortunately becoming such a big thing where we want to make sure that everyone is well guarded, your finances are well taken care of, and that no one is tricking you out of your money. So back to the romance scam though. So unfortunately, when this all comes to an end, it leads to a broken heart and an empty wallet. And that is the only way that's going to end. And unfortunately, there are people, I was watching a series where they try to find these scammers who are overseas. And there was this guy who had started this online relationship with this person who lived in the Ukraine. And this was before the war started. And he had sent them money, and so much money. He said, I think before COVID happened, he sent around $70,000 to the scammer. And then the war happened in Ukraine, and the person sent them a random photo of a building torched up and said, look what happened to my apartment. I don't know what to do. And he sent an additional $35,000 to help his girlfriend get a new apartment and get new furnishings. But the money was gone, and of course, because it's a show, they did some digging and found out that the address where the person was quote unquote living was an empty retail building in some place in the Ukraine, to be fair, over there, but it wasn't a real location. So he sent all this money and it was gone. And to him, he's like, I'm out money and I'm out a girlfriend. But he had never met this person and he's sending all this money out there. And unfortunately, it happens more often than we like to admit. So the con typically works like this. You post a dating profile, or you're on Facebook or one of those social media sites, and up comes a promising match. As the person's good looking, smart, funny, personable, knows how to make you laugh through words. And they may reach out through social media, but most of a third of people who lost money to a romance scam in 2021 said that it started through Facebook or Instagram. So it's not just through these dating profiles. So don't think that you have to have some dating match somewhere for this to happen. A third. So if we're going over 500 million, we're talking at least, easy numbers off the top of my head, $175,000, $175 million sent off because they met the person through non-dating sites. So they'll use pictures of an attractive person, and that's what kind of will lure you in. Happened to my aunt. She didn't send no money, but she's like, look at this guy who reached out to me. I'm like, that's Paul Hollywood from the Great Bake Off. What was that show? The Great British Bake Off, I think it's called. And I'm like, that's the dude with the white hair. That's got, of course, yeah, he's a good looking guy, but auntie, he's not reaching out to you. So, but that's unfortunately, this is what happens. So they claim they live in another part of the country, or they're abroad on business or on military deployment. Or sometimes they're just overseas in general. Sometimes they'll just say, I live overseas and I'm looking to meet someone outside my country. That happens too. And they seem smitten and they want to get to know you better. But as you get to know them through whatever channel, whether it be Facebook or these dating sites or whatever the case may be, they immediately want to switch it over to either their personal email or a chat app. And that makes you think, okay, we're getting personal. But the reason why they're doing this is because they know it's only a matter of time before their page gets blocked and banned for being a fictitious page. So as soon as they can move you over past this, it doesn't matter what happens to the profile, because if you go, oh, well, I went to go to your profile, I don't see it no more. Oh yeah, I deleted it after meeting you because I didn't really need it anymore. So they make you feel special. They make you feel important. And as weeks or months you get closer, you make plans to meet with your new love, and something seems to always come up. There's an emergency, a medical problem, something pops up, but because something popped up, I really need help. And if you can help me out, if you can send me money or give me a prepaid gift card or send me some cryptocurrency, it would be a huge help to me. And then you lose money. And like I said, I apparently undersold it by about 50 million. 2021, 547 million was lost in romance scams. And the median, the average being $9,000. So 9,000 divided by 457 million, it's not a small amount of people that are falling victim to these scams, unfortunately. So we have to keep in mind, and unfortunately, the older the victim, the higher the loss, because you're trusting whoever's on the other side of that, electronic means. If someone, and listen, I met my wife online, so I'm not saying that there aren't reasonable way to meet people and get to know people, but we have to use some wisdom before we jump the gun a little bit, especially sending money out to people in places, because you just never, unfortunately, know. I had a member in at Dutch Point a couple years ago. I want to say he probably went through $200,000+ took a mortgage out on his house and sent all this money to this person, and we wouldn't let him do any wires. We wouldn't make any bank checks for him, official checks for him rather. And he would just take the cash out and go wire them through Western Union. And no matter what we could say, it just he just wanted to believe that other person on the other line was for him and for a long-term relationship. So like I said, unfortunately, this is a real scam that really hurts a lot of people. AARP did a study and found that only 40, I think it was 40, no, 53, I think 53% of people report that they even get scammed. So there's a very real possibility that this number is much larger. So like I said, if you ever do get scammed, take your time, go to the financial institution, find out which ways you can protect yourself, give us the information we need, report it. I know that the local authorities can't do too much, but if enough gets sent up, enough traction, maybe there might be some ways that the CIA or the FBI can look into these things a little bit more detail to crack down on these people, because it's a widespread plague in the financial world. Any questions on romance scams or anything we've covered so far? All right. Fake prize, sweepstakes, and lottery scams. You won a prize, but did you enter the contest? It's like that old commercial where the guy's sitting at his computer. He's like, babe, I won. And she goes, what did you enter? And he goes, oh, this is exactly that. You won a prize, but you didn't enter anything. And the wild thing is that you're instructed to pay for the prize and for return of the winnings. Or if there's an inheritance, because I put the inheritance right in with this. I had a member not too long ago who was told he had $18 million waiting for him in Spain, and all he had to do was pay the taxes on it to somebody in Texas. Now, I don't claim to be the smartest person even on this Zoom, but it seems to me if Spain needs my taxes, I shouldn't be paying someone in Texas for it. That just makes sense to me, first and foremost. And then second of all, if anyone had an inheritance and there had to be taxes paid on it, they're just going to, if they had to, they're just going to take it out right from the lump sum. They're not going to hope that you just pay them. They're just going to take it out and give it to you. So like I said, any of the inheritance, the fake prizes, sweepstakes, just if they're asking for money, it is 100% a scam. But what they tell you is that if you keep paying, it'll increase your chances of winning. And then they'll start requesting for your digital banking credentials. And once you give them the online credentials, they can go, most institutions use Zelle, and they'll start Zelling themselves money, or they'll set up electronic transfers. And this way, money gets sent out of your account automatically. And next thing you know, money's gone. I even had one person who let somebody in to their online banking, and all they did was a transfer from the savings to checking account and said, look, we put money into your checking account. Now you have to send us some money back. Now, granted, this person was smart enough at this point to be like, no, I saw you do the transfer. I watched it. That's not what happened. So took a back seat, and, we helped him cancel his online banking credentials, get him started fresh, and took care of him. He wasn't out any money, but there are scammers that are literally just doing a transfer from savings to checking account and then being like, look, we put money in your account already. We just need a portion of that back. So like I said, just be very careful and do not give your credentials to absolutely anybody. So obviously, did you receive a letter or a check stating you won a prize but don't remember entering into any contest? There are plenty of contests that are run by reputable marketers and nonprofits. But every day, people are losing thousands of dollars to these prize scams. A telltale sign of this scam is that you are instructed to pay for your prize. A legitimate sweepstakes will not require you to pay taxes, shipping, handling, or any processing fees just to collect your prize. You may also be told that paying money will increase your chances of winning something bigger. That too is a scam. If you are asked to provide digital banking login information, never do so. Legitimate sweepstakes will never ask you to wire money to someone, especially to someone in a foreign country, nor will they ask you for your personal login information. If you receive a letter and an accompanying check in the mail and it sounds too good to be true, it probably is, and it's most likely a scam. Tech support scams. This one gets so many people as well. You'll be sitting down at your computer, minding your own business, and all of a sudden a pop-up comes up and says, your security is out of date, or you have a virus and you need to fix it. But if you look, it's always on a website. It's never just going to be on a random pop-up from your HP computer. It's always popping up when you're visiting a website. And your immediate response is, "Oh my God, I have a virus. I need to call the number right now." And then when you do that, they say, "Okay, well, we need your credit card information to process your payment. It's only going to cost you $45 to get your software up to date." You're like, $45 to keep my personal information? No problem. Here's 45. And then a lot more than $45 starts hitting your account. And they'll start small. They'll start with the 45, and then they'll do 100, and then they'll do 200, and then they'll do 500, and they keep anting it up until the system will say, "Oh no, there's fraud going on," and lock the card out. So, like I said, if you ever get one of these, just X out of the web page and leave it alone. If you're that concerned that you may have an actual virus, there are plenty of legitimate tech supports in all around. Go to Best Buy. They have the Geek Squad. The Geek Squad will even come out to your house if necessary. So there are plenty of ways to make sure your computer is safe without trusting a random pop-up from a website. So are you getting a pop-up warning you of messages on your computer screen, or maybe on your phone that your computer has a virus? This may very well be a scam. But how do you know, and what do you do? Scammers love to sound legitimate by pretending to be from a real company, say Microsoft or Apple. They'll make your whole computer problem sound urgent, trying to get you to act before you have time to think. Because like I said before, all of this, every scam is to make you react emotionally and not logically. And as soon as they can make you buy into the urgency of the problem, then you feel like you have to react quicker. I'll use this as a real example because this just happened. Today's Monday, so Saturday. My wife texts me and she's all concerned because she gets an email from someone who's claiming to have hacked our computers and gone through all of our stuff. And if we don't send them $1,950, that they're going to release all of our public information to us. And I'm like, Angela, my wife, I'm like, we put our email address in absolutely everything. It's fine. Well, they knew me by name. Well, your email address is Angela. What'd you expect? Like, it's not that hard of a jump. So like I said, it makes it sound very personal. Like for instance, if you look at my personal email, it's W Wilcox, and then whatever I have after that. So it's very easy to be like Mr. Wilcox. So unfortunately, our emails can give us away once in a while. But take your time and understand exactly what they're asking of you. And if they ask you for access to your computer or your bank or credit card information or online banking, back out immediately. Because what these scammers, they ask you to download a program which allows them to remote access into your computer. And unfortunately, whatever you have on your computer, they now have access to. If you have your password saved onto your online banking when you go on at different times, they can pull that up and pull up your online banking while they're having this conversation with you. So any company that asks you to download an app so they can remote in, I'm not going to say 100% of the time because I imagine there's some tech companies that do need to have access, but I'm going to say a strong 85% of the time this is going to be a scam. So do not let anyone just get remote access to your computer unless you know 100+ % that it is not a scamming company. Like I showed you before on this previous screen, they say call this number. Well, take a second, Google that number, find out what it is. If it's not a company or the internet says it's a scam or it's been flagged as a scam, back out of it immediately. If it shows that it calls directly to Best Buy, you know what? Let's give Best Buy a call then. Always take time to do your due diligence. Don't just trust any pop-up. So before you click on a link or a pop-up and call that number, just take a moment and stop and talk to someone you trust. I don't care if it's a friend, family member, your local financial institution. I know here at Dutch Point, we try to counsel our members as best we can, and I know a lot of financial companies are doing the same right now because these scams are all over the place, and we want to do our best to protect everybody. But talk to somebody before you just jump right into this. And remember, never, ever, ever share your bank account, credit card, social security number, anything to anyone who contacts you. Anyone from any financial institution already knows your bank information. They already have access to that. They're never going to ask you for your full number, ever. So do not give that information. If someone tells you to pay with a gift card, money transfer, or Bitcoin, it is a scam. Do not trust it. Now, you can screenshot this or write this information down. What to do if you yourself are a victim. Number one is that you can call any of the major credit bureaus and let them know you want to flag and freeze your credit report. What that'll do is that it'll stop anyone from being able to pull your credits. And I know that might be a little bit of a frustration next time you have to go and apply for a loan, and you have to give them a call and make sure it's released. But better to protect yourself than to have, next thing you know, you go to lease a new car and they let you know that you can't afford it because your credit's in the tank, and you're sitting there like, what do you mean? I pay all my bills, and find out that there's been a whole bunch of credit loans taken out in your name. Obviously, review when you do call and reach out to them, review your credit with them to make sure there's nothing odd on there. No pulls that you weren't aware of, no loans taken out in your name, no cards opened up in your name. Just make sure the information is accurate. You can always file a complaint with the FTC. You can go to the government or call them, and you can file a complaint, give them all the information, the email, the phone number that was attached to it, whatever the case may be, and they will send it up accordingly. You can file a police report. Like I said, there's only so much the local police departments can do, but depending on the type of scam, you may have the ability for them to do some more research. Like if someone came to your house and they got your debit card and they went to the ATM, they would have images of that stuff, and police can do some research. But so, like I said, depending on what the scam is, the police may or may not be able to assist you, but they do have to report all of this. And that's the biggest thing. We want to have these things be reported so it can be spread information out to everybody to keep on a look for these emails, these phone numbers, and whatever the case may be. I do have an additional link, and I can send to Mara as a link specifically. We do have additional fraud prevention content on Dutchpoint's website. So we can obviously have you go and do some more reading on your own if you'd like. We try to do some keep our fraud prevention up to date with all the different things coming out. So by all means, take that time. And if you want to take some time to learn and how to better protect yourself. I do know that while a lot of financial institutions are trying to do their best at the branch level and on the contact centers to help protect yourself, but a lot of them don't have any fraud prevention information for you to review on your own on their websites. That's not to say all of them don't, but a lot of them don't. They're geared 100% towards their sales environment and not so much in the operational side of things. So by all means, whether it's your local credit union or your local small community bank, they usually will have some more information to protect our client bases. And I'm at the end of my presentation. I got you guys in and out pretty much 40 minutes. So do we have any